Okay, week 23, ELA, pre-lesson deliverable, and this is the Red Hot Salsa unit. This is day 9, and we're getting into a new area of figurative language. So, we are now in class, and before we go into today's lesson, everybody, we want to highlight somebody who is a hero, and since it's Black History Month, this is something that we're going to be doing each day moving forward until the break, and then if we have any, I think actually we come back in March. So until the end of the second trimester, we're going to highlight somebody who's meant a lot to the movement for equality in African American history, and somebody that we can look at as a hero, somebody to be respected, a prolific, profound human. So today's person is Jesse Owens, and Jesse Owens was a track athlete, and he was prominent for sort of breaking the color barrier in the Olympics and sort of gaining the everyone accepted crown of being regarded as the greatest athlete in the world. And at the time, people discussed him as the greatest athlete in world history. Track and field was his area of specialty, and it should also be said that he was doing this at a time when Nazi Germany was on the rise, at a time when black people in the American South could not vote due to black codes, we were called, and other, it was called the Jim Crow era, at a time when people were, black people couldn't vote, they couldn't live in certain parts of town. People are very familiar with the idea of separate water fountains, but it ran much deeper than that. People looked at black people at this time in the world very commonly and very openly as being inferior, less than people of whiter skin color. And obviously we haven't completely gotten past that, but Jesse Owens operated at a time when people didn't even try to hide it. It was just outwardly expressed constantly. And so he, by sort of becoming such a prominent athlete, he sort of showed the world that, look, anybody who would say that people of darker skin tone are inferior to people of lighter skin tone are clearly dead wrong. And so we should remember him as a hero. Moving on. And if anybody wants to talk about Jesse Owens later, I am more than happy to cover some more of his accomplishments. But we want to keep the ball rolling because today we're talking about new types of figurative language, specifically one type, and that is hyperbole. I say hyperbole, you say hyperbole. 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 Clap it. Hyperbole. Okay. Hyperbole means exaggerating. Okay, so saying that something is a bigger deal than it actually is. And I know that the people in this room definitely do a lot of hyperbole on a day-to-day because I am with you, and I know that sometimes we put a little more drama into a situation than is actually needed. Think of hyperbole as dramatizing something. Okay, so like, oh, you ever feel sick and you're like, I'm dying? That's hyperbole, because you're not really dying, I mean, in a way, but actually you're just exaggerating. I feel, I'm so hungry, I'm going to starve. You ate 3 hours ago. I know you're not actually going to starve, but we say, I'm going to starve for a good reason. We'll talk about that in a second, but that is hyperbole. So why do we do this? Why do we say, I'm so sick, I'm going to die, or I'm so hungry, I'm going to faint? Why do we say these things? Okay, to prove our points, to add drama to the situation, maybe you do this, maybe you're sitting down and you're just like, I'm hungry. And people are like, who cares you're hungry? Everybody's hungry. You haven't eaten, I haven't eaten, we're all a little bit hungry. So you're like, okay, I need to go a step above this. I'm so hungry, I'm going to starve. That is hyperbole, and authors use this tool, this literary device, this bit of figurative language, this is for the same reasons that you do, because they really want to drive a point home. So let's look at these examples here and take 30 seconds to define each A, B, C, and D. Give you 4 different types of figurative language. And there's a word bank here: simile, metaphor, hyperbole, personification. We've seen the other 3 before. Hyperbole should be the only new word for us. So take 30 seconds to put the correct term, match the correct term with the definition. 30 seconds is up, we're back. So a comparison of unlike things using like or as. What do we have? Yes, Fernando, you say simile. Why do you say simile? Because it's a comparison. So couldn't it be metaphor then? No, Scarlett? Because we're using like and as. So pretty as a flower. If we just said Scarlett's a flower, that would be a metaphor. But because we said like a flower, or pretty as a flower, would also be simile. How about this? Comparison of two unlike things without using like or as. We just gave it away. What's the correct answer? Yes, Johan. That's right, a metaphor. What about if we see the metaphor over and over again? What do we call that? Extended metaphor. Very good. C, extreme exaggeration. For example, I cried buckets of tears. All right, I like seeing how many hands that we have right now. Good. Lodelis. That is hyperbole, is how we say it. Hyperbole. Say it. Hyperbole. Very good. And then lastly, describing a non-living thing with human characteristics. Have somebody read the example sentence. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Abel. The leaves danced in the wind. Are the leaves actually dancing? No, but we give them human qualities, and we call that what? Personification. We call that what altogether? Personification.